Hi, everybody. Welcome to Things for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. Welcome back. Berenice, hello.
Hi.
Lovely. How are you?
Hey.
How's it hanging?
Today is Monday for those listening on Wednesday, and it's Labor Day today. Now, I love me a 3 day weekend. What I don't love is when Sunday scaries happen on Monday. They're even more scary. Ella did get a phone call from me this morning being like, I have anxiety.
I love those calls.
Like I just need to talk something out real quick.
I memean, we all have those anxiety moments, honestly.
Yeah.
So, love to you get the ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ding-a-ling. But
The ring a ling. Yes. The ring a
yeah,
ling.
I'm not having Monday scaries, but I'm having don't want to go to work tomorrow. Like I
Oh yeah.
honestly, I love not working or like working on my own endeavors. Cuz let's be honest, like a day off for me, I'm still doing things. Like I'm a very productive person, but I think like once I get a break from work, I'm like, "Ugh, I wish I could just be a nepo baby artist." You know what I'm saying? Like I think that really
Totally.
is my calling is
Ugh.
a fucking trust fund and creative freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I definitely
That's
know what you
but
mean.
unfortunately I can't acquire a trust fund, you know what I'm saying? It's just not in the
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah, honestly, I feel you with that. If I could be reborn, I'd be a nepo baby. That'd be nice.
100%. And you know what? It's like and that's why I have the life that I have now. So, let's try to figure out how can I create a nepo baby lifestyle for myself. Not sure. So we're going to see. I'm going to have to think
Totally.
on that one for a little bit.
Totally, totally, totally. Maybe that's in the works for us, for my future generations. My dream, my
Mm,
aspiration is that my children are nepo babies. Okay, but like the cool ones.
okay. I actually like that. Oh my gosh. Have you watched Pop Academy on
No,
Netflix?
no.
I don't even know if I wanna recommend it because it was, a very, I don't know if triggering's the right word, but it was an emotional roller coaster. So, essentially what it is, it's a Netflix special where they take, K-pop training and development methods to make a female pop American girl group, right? And they
Uh-huh.
take it through the whole process of this, 2-year
Real?
process. Yes, real life documentary.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so it talks through the 2-year process of picking the girls, making them go through true years of training to either not end up or end up in the group, and they get eliminated over the course of 2 years or whatever.
Did they actually become a girl group at the end?
Yeah, they're a girl group now. Spoiler alert, yeah, it's a girl group. They have millions of followers. It's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I might have been out of the loop because I'm not in K-pop, but this was a real life thing, and now there's a documentary about it. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I'm gonna have
The
to check it out.
But one of the girls or one of the mm, trainers, I don't know, one of the execs was talking about how this experience, she had always wanted boys, but through this experience now she wants to be a parent, like a girl mom, because seeing young girls in action just warmed her heart of how complex and amazing and cool they are. And I feel like that really resonated with me because I've always wanted to be a girl mom. I don't know if I necessarily have had a affinity for raising a man per se, but I've always wanted a girl.
Yeah. I think women are resilient creatures,
Yeah.
and I'd be down for whatever. Whatever the vibe is, I'm with it. But I would love to have a daughter. That'd be cool. That'd be vibes. She could wear a lot of my clothes. Well, a boy can't too. It depends what they want to wear. But could you imagine? I have a daughter and she just doesn't want to wear any of my old clothing. I'd be so offended.
Well, that's why I feel like sometimes I have conversations there's people, men who they're like, "Oh, I would love to be a football coach. I want to be a little league coach." And I was like, "What if your kid doesn't want to play sports?" And they're like, I was
Not an
like,
option.
I was like, you will only want to be a parent to be a little league coach? You can go do that, brother.
Yeah.
Go volunteer. We need more, men in communities. But whatever. I
That
have
is funny.
things that happen. I am really excited about this episode. We're gonna do a little puzzle piece episode. Okay, it's gonna be about like finding the right puzzle piece
Yes.
and what happens when a puzzle piece doesn't fit. Puzzle
Yes.
piece being an element in your life. It's a metaphor, babes. Are you ready to get into it?
Let's get metaphoring.
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 Well, thanks for your concern. I don't know. I feel like this isn't an original metaphor, but Berenice did this thing where she was like, sometimes a puzzle piece just doesn't fit. And I have to think about it. And today I parroted her that thing she said to herself. And she was like, you know what? You got something there. Let's do that as a topic. So basically in life, there's like a little, your life is a puzzle and you're trying to fit all the pieces together. And sometimes you desperately want a puzzle piece to fit and it just fucking doesn't. And I feel like this can be applicable to like people, places, things. And so thinking about like finding the right puzzle piece, like you can think about like finding the right people and also finding like a right place for them in your life. So sometimes I feel like people, like I think this happens in dating where it's like you find somebody that you like vibe with, but maybe it's not the right person for a partner, but like that could be the right person to become like a friend or somebody else's partner. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I've had that a lot actually. Sometimes I go on dates and I'm like, yeah, you would do better with one of my friends. I don't think you're right for me, but maybe one of them.
Yeah, or it's just like I don't know, like I feel like there's a couple people in my life that like I dated but I really just should have been friends with, or a couple of friends that I dated that I should have just stayed as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about this like one of my exes that like honestly like we had been like such good friends. It was like a best friend because we had both stayed like over the summer in Pullman together and like just let me tell you throwback to those vibes, but being in the college town in the summer there was just like a core group of people. As we became really close, we became like best friends, and then like we eventually started dating and it just like didn't work out, and then like I felt like we couldn't be friends, just because
Yeah.
it partially because I think it's really hard to reestablish boundaries when you go from like friends to lovers to friends. And so I had to like distance myself because I was like, I can't hook up with people and
Be
well, not
around
hook
this
up with
person.
people, but it's like I'm not trying to date you anymore. And I don't want like I'm being an asshole if I try to pursue someone else in front of you. And it's like all this stuff. It's like, oh, I wish we had just stayed friends.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those. I sometimes get really excited at the beginning and like dive in a little strong, and I'm like, well, maybe if the situation had started off as friendship, we wouldn't be here because then you would have known this person is not compatible with you.
Right? Like you like because like what you look for, or at least for me, like what I look for in a friend and what I look for in a life partner are very different. I guess, or you just have to be so much more compatible to be a life partner than you do when you have to be like a friend, where it's like, maybe we don't have to live the same life, like our daily schedules don't
Yeah,
have to be in line to be a friend, but it's like as like a partner, we either have to vibe so much or like we have to have like a similar lifestyle.
100%. Getting on the right page with the right people. It takes some work. It definitely does. Like, I feel like sometimes you have to figure out A, what's the puzzle piece and in what category you place things, or sometimes maybe they're just not in the puzzle at all at this point
Yeah.
in your puzzle. In your masterpiece. And I guess, like with this metaphor of like a puzzle, I don't think that it's like we're not inanimate objects, so we are like forever like changing and growing, and our puzzle pieces are changing and are growing. And just because something is like right at one point in your life doesn't mean it's going to be right at another point in your life. You know what I mean? Um, so sometimes letting go of puzzle pieces or just seeing that the puzzle there's this not start the puzzle there's tension um and if it doesn't fit ultimately I feel like when something doesn't fit it starts to create chaos in your life for you to see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, like, if we're thinking about, like, a puzzle that's shifting, it's like the image is changing, right? And so maybe the puzzle piece doesn't fit anymore, and it's causing chaos because it's just classic clashing with the image you're trying to create. I think about this sometimes with, like, friendships or even family where it's like, okay, like, the image of myself and who I am has shifted, and now I have a bunch of puzzle pieces that don't fit anymore. What do I do with them?
I feel this a lot with like work. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like at a point where like, oh, I'm learning, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I like working with people I'm working with. And then when that something starts to shift or evolve, I'm like, oof, does this really fit into where I want it to head now? You know, like 2 years ago, me getting a job is such a different person from now, where I'm like, I think like my goals are a little different. And should I try to force this situation? Sometimes for me, I'm more scared to stay in a situation than to find a new situation.
Honestly, I think with careers, it can be so difficult because, like, even right now, like, it's such a tough job market. Like, I think everyone
Mhm.
can tell you it's a tough job market. So there's like this scarcity mindset around careers where it's just like take anything. And it's like, okay, does this job actually like align with your puzzle? Or is it just like, fuck, I need the work puzzle piece to fit in here? And like, I think short term, we have to pay bills, but long term, it might be better for you to figure out like what you want. And I think that's why, like, literally sitting down and saying, like, what values do I really want from a job? And like, for me, like, mine is like work life balance, right? Like, bitch, that's over everything. Some people don't give a fuck about that. I really do because shit, I got 100 other things that I want to be doing. I can't just invest all my time into work. And it's like, okay, so when you're looking at job descriptions, make sure that there aren't putting in those like little buzzwords, those little dog whistles that this is not going to align. Like a job description is like the best case scenario. So kind of expect the job to be worse. So if they're saying like, must be work long hours, fucking wear many hats, fucking owner's mindset, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I probably shouldn't say that, but like all those little buzzwords where it just says a lot of fucking work, bitch. And that's okay for some people, but that's not what I'm looking for. So you got to figure out those characteristics. What do you want your image to be? And then how does that correlate with the job description before even applying?
I'm with you. I'm with you, sister. I think I've been kind of in the same predicament like 2 summers in a row where socially I start to get like a lot more busy because you want to be outside. And I am like have a 9 to 5 and then I'm also working on my own stuff on the side. And I think every summer I'm like, I don't want to do that again. That was horrible. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like
Yeah.
stressed and overworked all the time. And then comes like the end, and I'm like, oh my god, I just did it again, but like it felt slightly better just because I was used to it, not because I actually like enjoyed it. Yeah, so seeing like this is really not like a sustainable, happy place for me, and what does that look like? And sometimes, you're shifting around those puzzle pieces. It can get a little scary. It can get a little scary. There's a lot of them. You can get quite overwhelmed. I'm in the place. I guess sometimes some people don't have choices, but right now, sometimes I do. And right now, I feel like it's probably one of the first times where I see a lot of doors. Um, but now I'm like anxiety about which door do I go through. You know what I mean? There's options, so blessed but stressed. And for me, at least, when it comes to making choices, and I'm ultimately like a little stressed about, sometimes you just have to like pick something and let the universe flow. Like it's either gonna work out or it isn't, but you're gonna learn something through that experience and you're gonna end up where you need to go regardless. I think like there's that question of like fate and destiny. And I think obviously like you have the owner of your choices and you create a lot of the situations in your life. But ultimately, if you have a mission and you're working towards that mission, you're gonna get there one avenue or the other. It might just look a little different.
What's meant for you is meant for you. So if I were to say like which door should you go through or whatever, it should be whatever door seems forward. You know what I'm saying? Like forward motion, taking action, like you kind of know what I mean, there's a little bit of risk that goes into saying like, "Hey, just do whichever one is action." Like we know what right now is, we know the feelings, we know the emotions, we know how we're handling it. So it's like you can either stay here or go forward. And I think honestly, just like commit to the bit. I think that's something that we say. Like sometimes you just gotta fucking commit. Like who gives a fuck? Like just choose a door and fucking commit.
I agree. And sometimes, like, getting something to have the right fit in your life, if that's something that you want, it takes maybe you to change and grow around that puzzle piece. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I think about it in that way. It's like, oh, am I actually ready for this situation? Or what is it that, like, I still need to work on or meet for me to fit with that puzzle piece? And is that something realistic for me? And is that something I want to do? I think about that with like life and opportunities, and I also think about it in relationships. Sometimes I feel like I'm over my head. Like I'll like someone and be like, actually, I might be the problem here, and what do I need to not necessarily like fix for somebody else, but it's like I'm gonna look inward. Like, why am I feeling? Why is it creating this distress in me rather than like what's wrong with this person?
I relate to that like in my relationship where it's like mirroring the behavior I want in a way. And like I see this with like my parents and like you can tell someone something 1,000 times, but if you mirror the behavior, so it's like if you are wanting someone to work on communication, okay, I'm gonna work on communication so I can like mirror what I want, because I think it's really easy to ask for something from somebody, and like I think with like puzzle pieces and like looking at a puzzle, it's like okay, well, I keep on trying to make this piece go a certain way. I might need to change my direction. There's like four, depending on the type of puzzle there's four different ways that I can move in relation to this puzzle piece. Not the puzzle piece isn't the only thing that needs to move. There's two different inputs. There's the other puzzle piece and there's me. So I can either try to move that puzzle piece. That's not as easy as just moving me, if I'm the other puzzle piece. And maybe then it'll fit because I rotated myself. I made a change.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I've also witnessed with some people, like, they try to stare themselves as a puzzle piece inside someone else's puzzle. That I'm like, girly, you're just not the right shape for that puzzle, but that doesn't, not in a bad way. Maybe that's not
Ooh.
actually the puzzle you want to be
You don't know what image they're creating over there, bro.
in.
Actually
Yeah,
think that sometimes I honestly think about this a lot where it's like people are trying to make relationships work with somebody else and I'm like, "Bitch, they don't even got like their image isn't even something that you want to be in, but you're just trying to fit in because you're stubborn, okay? And I get it. I'm a stubborn
yeah,
bitch myself where it's like you get to a point where you're just like, no, 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 no. I'm going to make this work. Like I'm going to make this work. I'm going to fit into this person's life because of like there's something about them that you really want them a part of your life. And at some point,
attached. It's
yeah,
attached.
at some point you're more like focused on fitting into their puzzle than if that's a puzzle you want to be in.
Oh yeah, 100%. I do see this with a lot of friends where they date someone and I'm like, your lifestyles are just so different. Like, fundamentally, like where you come from, the people that you hang out with, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like there can be so much love, but in that compatibility level, sometimes I'm like, it's okay to like let them go. Like the issues that you're having, the the fact that you've never had these life evolving issues is because you've never been surrounded by this type of you know what I mean? So maybe that's the issue. It's like, oh, I'm getting myself into like these weird ass situations that I never experienced before. It's because you're either like hanging out with a group of people that are just have like a different lifestyle and evaluating if that's really where you want to be. I had also like a friend at the time tell me like they were really like on their grind about getting like together their fashion stuff. And then they started seeing somebody and it became just like kind of toxic, and they were talking a lot about of like their partner's like household drama, but almost in a way where like as entertainment. And I feel like sometimes you can get sucked in by like somebody else's like drama, and I was just like, I see. And I guess like as an entertaining perspective, that's crazy, but also like, do you want to be surrounded by these type of people if your goal is over here? Like what's this bringing you? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna get caught up in somebody else's drama and somebody else's lifestyle that you're not part of, instead of just like working on yourself and like your goals in your career, because this is loud, right, and shiny and funny and what a hee hee ha ha's, but there's like so many other things in your life. So I don't know, sometimes I'm like, do you want to even fit in that puzzle? Why?
Yeah, I think you have to question your entertainment. Like that's why I like reality TV is because I like living in other people's drama, but I also like not being involved at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the allure of reality TV is like, holy shit, this is crazy, but then you don't have to deal with the repercussions of the craziness.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I have a friend that's like, there's always something, there's always something, and I'm like, oh god, oh god. How do you put that much energy, how do you find time to get into all these situations, you know? I'm like, where do you meet these people, where do they stay? Like, I have so many questions about how they came to be the person that they came to be, but I also don't have that many questions because I don't have that type of time.
Yeah, chaos finds chaos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think chaos finds chaos. Like energy is always reciprocated, and misery do be loving company. So just make sure that you're, I guess, like me included. Sometimes we get into these puzzles where it's like, why is there so much mayhem and destruction, and do I really need that for my life? Probably, maybe no.
Yeah, and like it kind of goes back to the image of your puzzle. You know, I feel like I used to really want to be in like a 5,000 piece complicated puzzle. Like I was like, I like when there's complications and chaos. But now, babes, I'm like at 100-piece puzzle. Okay, it's still complex. It's gonna take you a minute, but I just need less fucking pieces. And I was giving myself a lot of pieces by just like seeking chaos. You know, and that's because that's what I wanted at the time, you know? It excited me. Like, I liked that shit. But now I'm like, you know what?
For
Let's get
what?
yeah, for
Yeah,
what?
I'm about to blow up my life for what?
Yeah.
You know, I think about that often. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's because I get bored. I honestly think it's
Yeah.
like when I get bored, I'm like, let me go do something destructive. I'm like, why would I do that? Why would I? That's so crazy. So I try. I fix my shit up sometimes, and sometimes you can't stray away from what your targeted image is. Okay, I think that happened to me quite a bit this summer, where I was like, "Am I spiraling? What's going on?" Like I was not well.
You know, it's funny when you say like you were bored. I was just thinking of this like core memory that my mom will talk to about that I just remembered. So when I was little, I had a shit ton of puzzles, right? And I just figured them out really quick. And one day I decided this is too easy. So I dumped like I'm not exaggerating 60 puzzles into one bucket to make it extra hard for
Hard.
me. And that bucket literally never got fucking fixed again. You know, I tried, I put hours into it, but at that point, it's just too complicated, bitch. You know, so it's like before you go dumping puzzles on the ground and mixing them all together, be fucking careful and ask, do I really want to do this? Do I want to dedicate my time to untangle and separate these pieces again? Let alone try to put this puzzle back together, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to scrap that puzzle. Those are gonna have to go to the garbage or art piece, you know?
You know, and I was thinking about like this idea of like hobbies and endeavors and things is like maybe don't fully give up on the puzzle, but you just need to find the right piece. And it's like a different piece, but it's the same thing. Like, I think sometimes I see people or I hear about people who are like, oh, I really want to work out, but I hate going to the gym. And I'm like, okay, well, then like find something you like, you know, like I love lifting weights, but like that's not for everybody. You know, there's not one puzzle piece that's a one size fits all, you know, or like, oh, I hate meal prepping. Okay, well, can you prep ingredients? Like, can you do something different that accomplishes the same goal of like moving your body or like whatever? You might have to think a little bit outside of the box about like how like you might have to create a puzzle piece that is just specifically for you to fit into you know the goal, but think about it, get creative and figure out what works for you, baby.
I like that. I think that sometimes we fall into patterns that are just like set for us. You know, like you're supposed to go to the gym and you're supposed to do these things, but if something doesn't work for you and your routine just looks like completely different, as long as like it works for you, that's fine. Sometimes I feel like the more I try to fit into like what other people's picture of I don't know, success or sustainable like habits about certain things, I'm like, that just will never work for me. And I don't want to make myself feel bad that that's just not my vibe. Like my brain's just different and everyone's brain is different. So really like there's things that work for multiple people, but because your brains are different, like you shouldn't actually have anything that there's not like a one fits all type of situation. It just isn't.
No.
And I'm okay with quitting. Like we've talked about in this podcast, sometimes you should quit sooner. Okay. If you've tried it, you tried the one hobby, that hobby didn't work, you're not out of hobbies, you just try another one and it's okay to move on from that. If it's not bringing joy, on to the next. I think
And honestly, maybe something works for a second, but you might need to give up. Like I recommended this on the podcast and I was like, oh, that was such an insane recommendation. But my like power hour cleaning where you switch tasks every like minute with a song.
yeah.
That was insane. But
Did you do it?
oh, well, I was doing it, but I really realized I was like, this is just not effective. We got to do something. Like 60 seconds is like too short because you can't even like put on cleaning gloves in 60 seconds. So, now I was like, you know what? Why don't we do it per song instead of every 60 seconds? So sometimes you do have to either quit or change, babes. Don't be
Yeah.
stuck in your ways, dude.
That's literally the whole thing. It's like we're either changing around a puzzle piece or we're finding a new one. Okay? And I think that with the main image of this puzzle and maybe sometimes moving things around, for me, whenever like I stray off my vision where I'm like, oh, mayhem and destruction, what's going on here? The puzzle's really moving. There's no clear picture. I like to go back to like I made like a mission purpose, whatever, of my year. And I think like right now where I'm like, oof, are my choices lining up with what I want? To just go back to that and like reread it and reassess, okay, is this actually where I'm still at? And do I need to change anything? Rewriting it. There's like 4 more months left of the year.
Oh my god. I was literally
Scary.
about to say talk about this. There's like
Wild.
120 days left and like I feel like this is a good time to look at what your goals for 2024 because I get distracted by like the shiny new puzzle piece,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I kind of went back to these and I was like, wait. 120 days is like the perfect amount of time to achieve some of your like bite-sized crunch goals. But I was like, you know what? I want to go back to that. Like, I cannot believe I gave up on that because like it got too hard or I just got distracted. But I was like, okay, I have 120 days. Let me go back and like, let me ignore the glittery, shiny new puzzle pieces that don't even go to this puzzle and I wasn't even worried about until a wizard came and gave them to me.
Yeah, like
I
really
gotta focus
randomly
back.
dropped
Yeah,
in.
it's
Yeah.
just they just got some like random puzzle pieces got dropped in and I got distracted because I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's like they know we have ADHD.
yeah, it's like they literally know. And so now I was like, wait. Oh, that's right. I did want to fucking take care of those 3 things. And yeah,
Before all these new things going on. Exactly. Definitely a good time to go back to that. And again, with like the if you having a difficult time making a choice, it like going back to that and being like, what's my mission? What's my purpose? Whatever aligns with that. If it doesn't align with that and you're still on that's what you want, then maybe like that's a clear indication of, oh, that's not because it's not really what I want.
and if I think sometimes is your mission and values clear enough, because if you're having a hard time like I don't know what to do or like I don't know what I want to do with my life, babes, then you got to zero in on your mission and values, like
Yeah.
saying I want to be, I'll take myself as an example. I want to be a billionaire. Babes, that's not specific enough.
Right.
Why and how? Why? Because I'm trying to create a fucking team of Nepo babies because I wasn't allowed to be one.
Yeah. I need 10 of them.
I hope, who knows? But
Who
it's like
knows?
you just have to dial into that mission and values so that you're you don't have a hazy puzzle that you're trying to put together. If the image ain't clear, it's going to be really hard trying to fit puzzle pieces in there,
Oof.
baby.
Amen. Direction is powerful. Very powerful.
That's very simple, but very true. Direction is powerful, babes.
Even though you're going to be picking up all these pieces, you don't even know where they go. You don't even know if they actually fit. You're just going to be wasting your time there. This is how you see some people date, bro. For real. They're just like, I'm like,
clock it.
Including myself. It's 100% me. I'd be trying anything at this point. And I'm like, for what?
I know, it's like 2 weeks ago, you're like, I'm not even excited about a partner. And then you're like, what?
Yeah. Oh, well. It is what it is.
Learning and growing and ever changing, babes.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to this episode. It was brought on by a mental breakdown I had this morning.
We gotta have those the breakdown is content, okay? We gotta keep it pushing, babes.
Everything is content here. How do I commoditize the fact that I am mentally struggling? So we can talk about it on the podcast.
You know what, babes? I had a fucking dream, and I see the future, bitch. I saw us. We had a packed theater, and we were. Yep, it was. And then I was like, you know what? This is the mission. This is the goal. And how can you, who is listening right now, help? You can like, you can subscribe, you can tell a fucking friend, you can follow us on our other social media channels. Thanks to number 4 your concern. I'm at LL Tutor.
And I'm at Berenice Ideas.
We love you. We will see you next week.